Different types of damage are at the core of many games, from the original Dungeons & Dragons from 1974 to titles coming out today. Damage types shape how a game feels to play. Some might only have a few that can mostly be ignored, while others have so many that you have to deeply study them first. Damage types shape the very identity of many games, with Pokémon as a prime example. Its rock-paper-scissors style type chart causes every move to be varying degrees of effective, and sometimes it can't even hit the opponent at all. That forces you to think about the types of damage your team can dish out and take. What move is good on my specific Pokémon? What type of move do I select this turn? And do I have a safe Pokémon to switch to? There are other games that heavily rely on damage types, like the Souls games. Here, every attack still has one or more damage types associated with it, but most ways of dealing damage are only heavily resisted, and there are many ways to have specific damage types or strategies. This allows the required decision making to shift away from the primary rock, paper, scissors style to crafting your personal build and fulfilling your character fantasy, allowing you to enjoy the whole game as a fragile magic sorcerer or greatsword wielding menace. A lot of games will fall somewhere on the spectrum of damage types as the core gameplay loop, them being a flavorful addition, or not really having ones at all. While a D&D sorcerer can focus on buffs to specific elements, they are sure to still have other just as effective damage types in their arsenal as options for resistant foes. If you have the ability to choose what type of damage you deal or what to protect yourself against, it is vital to be able to determine your enemy's associated damage type or weakness. This creates the baseline for a solid player experience. Sometimes it is very easy to tell. If you see a literal burning enemy walking towards you, you can be sure that they will deal fire damage. Same with a being literally made from water or a big steel snake. The way you take damage can also give you a clue as to what type it is, like a projectile coming at you or an explosion ripping you apart. Oftentimes, damage types have colors associated with them, not only allowing for better distinction in user interfaces, descriptions, and item textures, but also in enemies or attacks they use. A blue mouse will deal water damage, while a yellow mouse is sure to shock you with lightning. A red hot sword is dealing fire damage, while an ice blue one will deal frostbite, and so on. Often you can infer weaknesses when you know what type of damage an enemy is associated with. A fire creature is often weak to being extinguished by throwing lots of water at it, and fleshy enemies are quicker to bleed than armored ones. Enemies wielding a specific type of damage are also often resistant to that damage. If it throws holy blades created from thin air, throwing them back doesn't sound very effective. What makes this even harder is how different every game may treat each element. In Pokémon, lightning damage isn't very effective against the dragon type, while in Dark Souls, lightning is the most effective solution to besting a dragon. For those kinds of elements, it is hard to intuitively figure out what type is most effective against them. Sometimes the game straight up tells you, other times you need to rely on cryptic hints or trial and error, which can shift the problem from a strategic one to one of knowledge. The type of damage an enemy uses can also often tell you what kinds of debuffs you can expect. Where a fire attack might leave you burning for a few seconds, a wave of ice is sure to give you frostbite. Buffs are also often thematic and find themselves in multiple places. A lightning calling bear will build up its passive to make its attacks spread between enemies, and a spell called Chain Lightning will also have electricity jump from target to target. Different attacks using the same debuff can even be flavored differently. A magical damage over time effect may be called a burn, while that same effect, instead dealing physical damage, might be called a bleed. These distinctions and keeping to those is a good baseline for anyone receiving those effects to build their defenses effectively and intuitively. Damage types can not only shape the gameplay of any game, but also its world and character design. As established earlier, what type of damage any specific creature will deal should be able to be gathered from its design. In the inverse, a specific damage type existing can also create opportunities for creature designs or even a whole environment. Players will expect ice monstered in a snow-covered wasteland and a tomb to have necrotic skeletons. If damage types exist, you can probably wear armor or gain features to resist them, but sometimes the game will make it a lot harder to do so, or force you to take the damage outright. As one example, true damage in League of Legends, which, as its name already hints, is unavoidable damage directly to your health bar, and no amount of armor or magic resist helps against it. A specific ability or move can also be designed to work outside of the established damage type system, allowing the user to hit otherwise unaffected targets, or hit enemies effectively with a move that they would normally resist. Even in Slay the Spire, which doesn't have traditional damage types, there is a distinction between taking damage and losing HP, the first of which can be blocked, but losing HP can't. These types of damage are not encountered a lot, otherwise the whole damage type system would be undermined. This way, when they come up, damage is guaranteed. Many different games make use of damage types in their own unique way, creating variety and associating each of them with different status effects, buffs or debuffs. They give the player tools to resist and effectively wield them, and in rare cases, even completely circumvent the mechanic as a whole. This allows players to create strategies regarding the established damage types as much as the game demands it. If you are designing a game and considering implementing damage types, think about the amount of damage types the player has access to at any given point, both offensively and defensively. Think about how they will learn the associated mechanics, strengths and weaknesses. Establish your own rules based on common understanding and keep to those. And that's it! Thanks for watching all the way through. This is my first video, so liking it and sharing it with a friend would help me out a ton. If you have any feedback or ideas for a topic I should cover next, please do let me know. I will read all the comments.